Nubreed coming through with another live stream. Put a one in the chat if you can hear and see me clearly. Let me know that we don't have any discrepancies. Somebody don't want y'all hearing this truth. All you got to do is talk to me in the comment section. Let me know that y'all can hear me clearly. All right, we're here. So this is the third time that I attempted to go live. So they're going to pretty much try to drown out the algorithm. I don't know how I can go live from my cellular device and there's no sound in my live, but we're here now. So everybody get the likes up. There was a lot of people that joined in 1 minute. They're trying to shadow that. So you got to hit the likes to get everybody back in the building. All right. Sorry for the inconvenience. Some of you all had to leave and come back, but we are here. And this is their way of trying to drown out my stream where it loses momentum, because the algorithm is basically saying that I'm still live when they didn't give me any sound. So nonetheless, y'all, we got some exclusive new footage. And it proves that Renee Nicole Good was murdered unjustly. Now, my initial reaction to what was shown on the news was kind of partial, based on the fact that I understand how their rules and regulations go. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, what I just witnessed proves that this woman was brutally murdered unjustly. Now, we got to go here, right? I got footage for y'all. I got some footage for y'all, and I want y'all to pay close attention to this. Because there's a lot of protests taking off. There's a lot of anarchy and chaos in the streets right now. And we gotta cook. It's something very close I want you to pay attention to. Now, I want you to see that this woman was allowing people to get by her. The cover story is that she blocked off the road, trying to stop ICE from doing some type of sting operation. Come to find out, that is a lie. I want you to see that she was letting cars pass, right? Let me run this footage. Something I want you to pay attention to. She's waving her arm. That is key right there. She's waving her arm for the first car to go by. Watch this. Now she waved her arm. Now these officers just decided to hop out and go to her. Look at this now. An attempt to force her out of the vehicle. Now, this is abrasive. This is threatening. And this woman feared for her life at this point. Guns were already drawn. She's literally trying to flee out of fear. Pay attention again. She wasn't purposely trying to block off anyone. Remember, it's snow and ice out there. She's waving for the first car to pass. Waves the second one. She waves. They stop. They stop. This officer right here, look, he has his hand already on his pistol. The guns are drawn. Look, that's a gun in his hand. He's reaching. Gun was already out. There you have it. Point blank range through the driver's seat window. So to say that they were that this woman was in the way, that they were somehow trying to pretty much, apprehend her. Listen, all they had to do was get up out that car and say, listen, ma'am, we're going to have to ask you to move. You're blocking off the road. Could you back up some? No, ladies and gentlemen. This is straight up proof that she was taken out unjustly. Now, the streets are going crazy right now. I'm talking about Minneapolis and New York, San Francisco. There's a lot of cities that are in a uproar right now as we speak, ladies and gentlemen. It is getting real on the battlefield. It is truly taking off out there. The protests are going on. People are taking to the streets. I just want to show you some of the footage of what's happening out here. It's protests everywhere, right? And it's people just really beginning to push back. American flags are being burnt. There was also a situation where a pregnant woman was dragged. Thousands take to the streets of Minneapolis. Nicole, her GoFundMe reached $550K in less than 24 hours. You got thousands in the streets. Now, let me explain something, what's happening right now. Let me explain what's really happening. Of course, they tried to slow the momentum down on my stream. They took the sound out the first 2 times I tried to go live so it won't have the same impact, but we're here nonetheless. But I'm going to tell you what we're witnessing here, just so we're clear. We're witnessing right now something that is a lot different from what we've seen in the past. It's not just random chaos. It's pressure surfacing. See, ladies and gentlemen, middle America has been absorbing economic strain, political division, cultural tension. And they've already had mistrust for institutions for years. See, when everybody feel unheard, unsafe, and targeted, frustration doesn't just disappear. It compounds. See, history shows that uprisings don't begin with weapons. No. They begin with exhaustion. See, when faith in the system collapses, people stop believing change can happen through normal channels. I see a lot of footage out here right now of people gearing up, pleading the Second Amendment on their neighborhoods, and they are taken to the streets. And this is not a game. Some of the things that I'm hearing and seeing is not a game. A civil war in America could very well take place. Now, of course, I've been telling my people to pretty much stay out of this, because when they were chasing our brothers around DC, beating, harassing, incarcerating falsely, when a lot of our brothers was missing, nobody was really protesting nationwide about that. And I'm not trying to be tit for tat. I want the people I want the people to deal with this who have the power to deal with it. And it spilled over into their communities. White supremacy has spilled over into their communities. Now, I mean, it's a lot happening. It's a lot happening. Let's just go to some of these commentaries real quick.
And killed Renee Good in broad daylight in Minneapolis yesterday has been identified. The Tribune has identified him as Jonathan Ross. There is very little public information about him, but federal officers called him an experienced officer, and he's the same guy who was dragged and injured in a separate incident last year. Now, of course, police, the Department of Justice, the FBI are investigating the incident, but we also learned earlier today that local officials trying to look into this are being blocked out by the federal government. They are not giving them access to the resources they need. So not only is the Trump regime...
Tania, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm going to respond to that. She says, I think it's mainly because it wasn't on video. Sometimes when we see it with our eyes, it becomes real, but I hear you fully. Absolutely. And I totally understand that. But there is some footage of brothers in DC getting beat by, I'm talking about nearly beat to death by dozens of ICE agents. You know, for years, our people have been, you know, murdered by police unjustly. This has been going on for a long time, but we've never really seen nationwide protests spark. You know, Minneapolis is a place that has a lot of tension. It has a lot of tension. And for whatever reason, this place always ends up being a hub for some type of uprising. And so when George Floyd got what he got, yeah, not until George Floyd, but it wasn't people of all nationalities for George Floyd. It was mostly usins. But I want to be very clear, very much clear about this. I want to be very much clear about this. The mayor of Minneapolis wasn't nearly wilding out like he was shooting obscenities and profanity when it comes to one of their own. And it's just, it is what it is. That's why they have to deal with it. They have to take to the streets, and they are going to take to the streets. They are going to take to the streets. They already have started, but we're going to get into that.
Regime lying about Renee Good on a daily basis. They're also not fully allowing her death to be investigated. Now, I know that MAGA is going to cry and kick their feet over this guy being identified, but number one, he works for the federal government, and number two, he should have never had a mask on anyway. ICE agents should not be walking around with their faces covered. So I will keep you updated on the story, but I think today is a great day for Jonathan Ross to get indicted. We have some major news.
Yep, but he's not going to get indicted. You know, these protests are breaking free everywhere, even in New York.
Our streets. We want justice. We want peace. We want ICE off our streets. We want justice. We want peace. We want justice. We want peace. We want ICE off our streets. Our streets. We want justice. We want peace. We want ICE off our streets. We want justice. We want peace. We want justice. We want peace. We want ICE off our streets. Our streets.
You know, I just really wish they had that same energy when ICE was talking about cleaning up crime and they were just going to black neighborhoods. You know, they didn't have this same energy. And I mean, I said it, and I hate to say I told you so, but I did tell y'all that it was going to spill over. I said this white supremacy is going to spill over. How many of y'all remember me saying this? That it was going to spill over into the rural areas, and then you're going to be trying to stop this from happening. It should have stopped when they were breaking. It should have stopped when they were breaking the damn Constitution. That's when it should have stopped.
Out of New York! ICE! 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 Out of New York! Ice out of New York! Ice out of New York! Ice out of...
I'm telling you, now they're gathering. Somebody said, Breed, have you heard there was, Marcus Milley says, have you heard there was another shooting in another state today? No, I haven't heard about that. But I'm not surprised because it's a lot of people bucking up at ICE right now. And they're going to use lethal force. And when it comes to our people, they're going to show extreme prejudice. So I advise y'all to stay out the way. Let these people deal with this.
Up with the people! Down, down, down with Trump! Down, down, down with Trump! Up with the people! Up with the people!
I mean, hopefully they're going to, move a little bit different. They're going to have to get their ARs outside. They're going to have to really protest. And they can't play no games. Look, Tuscan is demanding justice for Renee Nicole Good. Yeah, I believe foundational Black Americans should stay out the way in this instance because, we were saying it all along that this was going to come to their communities. And this is what they're rallying and saying now.
Just like with George Floyd. We not gonna, what? We gonna tear this motherfucker up.
That's what y'all going to have to do. Y'all going to have to tear that shit up. And y'all got a lot to compete with because in Minneapolis, they really put in that work. So y'all gonna have to match that same energy that they did with George Floyd. I want to say this, civil unrest doesn't ignite everywhere at once. It sparks at flashpoints. And I'm thinking that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing flashpoints. One incident becomes symbolic. This is how it starts. Not just because it's isolated, but because it represents a longer pattern that people already feel. People are ready to crash out. Protests grow when communities see themselves reflected in injustice. And so, when George Floyd the situation happened, they will always make it a black thing. No, it's not a black thing. You're gonna see these people uprise too. I'm just trying to see what angle they're going to take. Because protesting ain't going to be the answer. You're going to have to really put in some work at this point. See, protests grow when communities start seeing themselves and they can seeing themselves in on the short end of the stick. Basically. When they can fill those streets up with anger. When they say to themselves, that could have been me. That could have been my mom. That could have been my aunt. They need shared identification. That's what turns into outrage. Outrage turns into momentum. Like I said, I got my popcorn ready. Civil War America is beginning. Let's hear what this guy has to say.
That's what the fuck has to happen. Does anybody know why we're given the Second Amendment right? Google it. It's to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. The police are supposed to be on our side, fighting, pointing their guns at just like with George Floyd. We not gonna, what?
I mean, that's what it's going to take. He's right. Listen, if the mayor already condemned ICE, the mayor said, get the F out of there. Y'all local law enforcement is in disagreement. Y'all gonna have to have the police, everybody. Y'all gonna have to go out there with y'all's Elmer Fudd shotguns. Y'all gonna have to get your ARs, get y'all hunting knives, get your bulletproof vest, get you some tear gas, Get your bulletproof vest. Get your hunting boots, and y'all gonna have to get y'all rucks bags and get y'all asses out there and get active. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Y'all gonna have to get active. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to tell you. But we gonna be over here chilling. We gonna be over here chilling. You know? See, the most dangerous phase of internal conflict is when narratives start to harden. You know, once people stop seeing each other as neighbors and start seeing enemies, that's when all the unity fractures. And because, look, all of the media and politics, there's something going on in Middle America. There's a threat. They're now divided by political division on an unprecedented level. You know, when you see Middle America under duress like this, you know, hey, that's the signs of a civil war. Look at this. Crowds continue to grow. Yeah, they're gonna have to, you know, make something shake. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, empower educated. They need to stop talking and get their ass out there and get active.
Fatality.
If you want ICE out your streets, y'all gonna have to get them out of there.
Get over here!
And look, I'm just keeping it a buck. They murdered that woman in cold blood unjustly. But I don't think that that's their only casualties. They've been hunting our people down in our communities. They've been doing a lot of dirt behind the scenes. They've been packing our Hispanic brothers and sisters up in shipping containers. They've been sending little Spanish old ladies across the seas who is American citizens. They wasn't even checking IDs. So y'all gonna have to get up there and run the fade with ICE. I'm just gonna keep it a buck because y'all didn't want to rally together when they was breaking the damn Constitution. When they was breaking the Constitution, y'all was nowhere to be found. Y'all was like, look, Trump cleaning up the streets. And now look. See? I'm going to tell you like this. There's no longer echo chambers of information in the white community. In Middle America, there's a deepened divide now going on. And see, this is when civil war tension escalates. Not because people want war, but because fear convincing them it's inevitable. Sister Christy said, I'm glad you were man enough and responsible enough to make that correction from earlier. Yeah, you know, I didn't see all the footage. I didn't see that exclusive footage that I just shared showing that this woman was waving these agents past and they just pulled out like the scary coward pigs they are. They just jumped up out of the truck and approached her with guns drawn for no damn reason. It was like one of those situations like, why are you running? Well, why the hell are you chasing me? That's like if the cops just start running at you and then you run away and they like, why'd you run? Well, why the hell did you chase me? That's what happened. See, I didn't have the full context because I thought she was blocking off ICE agents. They got out and asked her to move. She tried to pull off and then they shot her. That's a different situation. That's not what happened. Showing her arm out the window, telling them to go by, shows that she was cooperative. Them ICE agents was demons with murder on their mind. Straight up. I mean, it's undeniable. It's undeniable. I mean, Minneapolis, y'all gonna have to do something about that.
Get the fuck out of our neighborhood!
Wow, wow, wow. That lady was trying to escape. She was trying to escape. Now look, some LA protesters are breaking free for Renee Good.
Up with the people! Down with Trump!
Seattle marches against ICE. Yeah, y'all having little puppets and all of that. That ain't gonna do it. Even the people of Venezuela are they're starting to protest. See, there's some type of uprising coming in the world. It's gonna hit the global stage, but we're gonna have a civil war first. Hands off Venezuela. See, that's what put the battery in these folks back to start wilding out. You got Trump out here kidnapping presidents. They figure, oh, you know, it's time. It's crash out time. They said it's crash out time. Look, let me tell y'all something. My For You page been lit. It been showing me ICE been wilding the hell out. ICE been wilding the hell out. Oh, they showing the person who did it, but look, I got more for y'all. I mean, if they that, man, y'all, if they what that man just said they were, they gotta get active. These people out here snatching up little white ladies now, man. What the hell is going on in America, bro? ICE is out here snatching up little white ladies. Look, man, every society reaches moments where it must choose reform or rupture. Uprisings are warnings, not conclusions. They signal unresolved issues that demand attention. If these type of warning signs are ignored, tension hardens into conflict. History always shows us that moments like this needs accountability. It needs some type of dialogue, some type of structural change. I'm telling y'all, man, people think it's a game. See, when it's all happening to us, the world wants to ignore this stuff. The world wants to ignore it. Y'all should have never let those people break the damn Constitution.
just broke this person's f***ing window to f***ing harass us.
I mean, ICE out here dragging people around. Man, look. And I don't know what's going on in Minneapolis, but throwing snowballs ain't gonna help. Let me see. Kim C says Renee was on East 34th Street and George Floyd was on East 38th Street. Don't y'all think it's weird that they were around the same vicinity, right? That's definitely something that's noteworthy right there. That's definitely something that's noteworthy. It makes you want to know more about her. I know that Renee Nicole Good was 37 years old. Her family, she was described by friends and family as a mother, a writer, a creative soul, someone deeply connected to her community and children. Wasn't known to be violent. You know, those closest to her say that she was a person who cared about her family and the people around her. Her life had roots across the country. She spent time in Colorado, later made Minnesota her home, building relationship and raising family there. People knew her. They said they will remember her spirit and her creativity and her devotion to her children. Nothing related to any violence, no criminal records, none of that. None of that. I even seen some of the ICE agents. I seen some of the ICE agents knocking over her mural, not her mural, but her. They had some type of devotion for her, and they were knocking over the candles. There's footage out there on that. I'm telling you, man, something gonna have to shake. Something gonna have to shake. Yeah, the level of censorship is crazy, y'all. When they took my sound out of my live stream twice in a row, they killed the momentum. It'd have been well over thousands of people in here watching by now. But they killed it. I mean, because they don't want the truth out there. All of the real voices they try to silence. But we in here anyway, so we still gonna put on. Like, these ICE agents been wilding lately. That's an ICE agent hitting a protester. Look, they spraying people. You know what makes moments like this dangerous? It's not just the loss. It's how quickly grief can just turn into a memory. You know, communities remember names, faces, stories, headlines fade. Headlines fade, but Renee Nicole Good, she becomes more than a victim in their community. She becomes a symbol. And when symbols stack up over time, people stop seeing incidences as isolated. So even though this one incident took place, that is not how these type of uprisings really transpire. See, people start seeing this one person as a pattern. That's when trust erodes completely because people believe the system would not protect them. Only explain things away. You know? Authority without accountability breeds resistance. History shows us, y'all, that when authority is unchecked, it will always create resistance. Not because people want conflict, but because silence starts feeling like surrendering. When investigations are not going correct and they feel like there's no justice, when they can sense the biasness, communities are going to start filling the gaps in America. People are going to start drawing their own conclusions. That's when protests turn into movements. The streets don't just erupt because people enjoy chaos. They erupt because people feel boxed in, unheard, and disrespected. And fear cannot completely stagnate people. And everyone don't display fear the way society believes we do, or they do. I think it's going to get real crazy out there in the streets in the next week or so. And it's a lot going on. ICE out here wilding. See, when this looks, I'm telling you, ICE don't give a damn about these little white people. They don't care. They don't care. It's just not. See, man, I hate to say I told y'all, and I keep saying little white people and stuff like that, but I'm not trying to be derogatory. You know, I love people from all walks of life, but what I'm trying to explain to y'all is we was warning y'all at the beginning. I hate to say I told y'all, but I was like, look, man, MAGA, they running around like stuff is sweet. MAGA running around like, yeah, get those illegals out. Yeah, go to DC and clean it up. Yeah, but now look what the hell's happening up in the rural community. Like, just run that back. Like, just look what's happening. Like, damn.
Fatality.
Now these ICE agents is in their communities and they absolutely out of control. They shot a woman in the face today and left her head all over the dashboard. And the president was like, look, they got complete. They said, look, they got complete immunity. Don't F with these federal officers. They got complete immunity is what Trump said. I'm gonna have to put this live for members only, man. I ain't gonna lie, because they might say this one too violent or something. I don't know. They're gonna find a reason. Y'all should be glad y'all catching this one. Look, they going to the high schools. Like, what the hell is going on? They going to the high school tackling white teenagers. Like, what the hell is going on? But when I was like, man, nah, this ain't a good look, I got a lot of pushback. Now they all up in y'all's high schools. Like, I'm not making this stuff up, people. Now tell me why the hell ICE out here beating on high school students in middle America? It's an uprising coming in America, man. I can sense it, man. The Civil War is gonna happen because now, you know, it's going on in middle America now. Somebody said it. Rich King said, you said this would happen when they started in DC. I'm telling you, I hate to say I told him, but I told him. Nobody be hearing me though. See, look, The most volatile periods are when both sides feel justified and threatened. ICE feels justified and threatened, and so does Middle America. At the same time, the citizens feel targeted. Authority feels challenged. Neither trusts the other. This is the zone where restraint weakens on both sides. Mistakes are going to multiply. There's going to be more casualties because these officers are going to be afraid. Now, history warns us when this phase starts to set in, it doesn't take many sparks to ignite a fire. Something longer, not like a planned uprising, but a chain reaction will start to be born out of fear, anger, miscommunication. And then you start seeing this in white America, middle America. You start seeing this. It's Babylon, man. It's Babylon. America is struggling right now because it's no longer having one conversation. It's having dozens at once and everybody shouting. It's having dozens of conversations and everybody shouting. From the rural areas, urban areas, federal, local, everyone feels ignored by something above them. Middle America now sits in the middle of the pressure cooker.
My nigga Breed knew the time.
And now they got to absorb all the consequences without any answers. Why? Because they're not looking out for God's people. That's why unrest is spreading. And it's going to hit Middle America different, boy. That's a national fracture. Not just local unrest. That's a national fracture when you see this happening in their communities with law enforcement. This looked like our communities back in the 60s. How the hell is Middle America looking like the civil rights movement? What the hell have I missed? Well, Middle America is looking like the damn civil rights era. What the hell is going on? What has happened here?
I need to.
Are we in a twilight zone, people? I mean, at some point, somebody got to wake up.
Hey, I'm sorry. I voted for him. I thought he was going to help folks like me. I really did. Now my SNAP's gone, my Medicaid's gone. They cut off my heat and help last week. I don't know how I'm supposed to buy groceries next month to keep the lights on. I ain't got no. I need to say I'm sorry. I voted for him. I thought he was going to help folks like me. I really did. Now my SNAP's gone, my Medicaid's gone. They cut off my heat and help last week. I don't know how I'm supposed to buy groceries next month to keep the lights on. I ain't got no.
You see? Man, damn. This right here is what's going on in Middle America now. And look, you know what history also teaches us, y'all? And we gonna cook. Let me just chop it up with y'all. Tension doesn't automatically just lead to an immediate collapse. There's always a window. That window closes really fast when there's no accountability, transparency, no humility. Things could de-escalate. But once power chooses control over trust, the only outcome becomes chaos. What happens next depends on whether leadership listens. They peep the warning signs. or it's just gonna be too damn late. People gonna be tired of not being able to eat, be able to survive, and something gonna give. These people are going through what we've been through. And now, we just watching, you know, as foundational Black Americans, the only thing I can tell middle America is they're gonna have to get their AR-15s, their Elmer Fudd shotguns. Um, they're gonna have to get their rucks bags. They're gonna have to get their tactical gear, their camouflage, get you enough jerky to last you a few days. Get out there with your canteen and make some stuff shake.
My nigga breathing in the time.
I mean, that's the best thing I can tell you.
You know what? I'm done. These damn tariffs are breaking me. My hours are gone, my checks are tiny, and nobody up there gives a damn about guys like me. I believed in him, and it hurts to admit it ain't helping me anymore.
Or what y'all could do, is y'all could start proclaiming the children of the Most High, the children of the light. You could start, really stating claim to who's the real children of the Most High and standing behind them and start looking for us for direction. Other than that, y'all gonna have to get out there and put your soldier boots on and get the stomping. Because, we done already been through this. Rodney King, when y'all look, somebody said Nubreed get petty. Nah, man, when Rodney King took an L like that, y'all seen what we did. Foundational Black Americans, we tore Los Angeles the hell up. I'm just saying, y'all can say I'm instigating, you can say what you want to say, but look, we tore LA the hell up. And it is what it is. And we had to make something shake. We had to set some fires. That's all I'm saying. We had to move some furniture around. Y'all can't sit up here and just keep on crying. No, if y'all feel oppressed, y'all got to make something shake. Look, he got to make America great again. See, this is what y'all gonna have to do. Y'all got to make the truth great again. Y'all gonna have to stop playing and make the truth great again. Once you make the truth great again, hey, y'all gonna be all right. Y'all gonna have to come up with some Negro spirituals and get y'all asses out there and make something happen.
I've been holding on, trying to trust the process. But these tariffs, they're killing my contracts. I'm losing weeks of work at a time. I can't keep pretending this is good for my family. I'm tired of being the one who pays for it.
I can't do this anymore. My son's insulin just went up again. I can't afford it. I'm holding on, hoping things will get better, but they're not. I'm scared. I'm really scared for my kid.
I really thought he'd help people like me, but it's all the same.
Now, what do you mean, people like you? So let me get this right. You thought he would help people like you. So the hell with everybody else. You thought he helped people like you. See, this is the problem right now. You was only worried about you. You was worried about you. Now look at the situation. Let's go.
My family's struggling, and I can't keep pretending this is helping anymore.
Man, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Y'all gonna have to make some things change here. This ain't looking good. Y'all let them ICE people get that battery in their back. Trump done kidnapped the damn Venezuela president. Now they walking around acting crazy. Y'all throwing ICE agents pinning down pregnant women. I mean, what the hell? ICE is just running through the streets, beating U.S. citizens up. What the hell's going on? Man, this is a bad look.
Hey, we're breaking fuck the news. I want to give you guys an update. There's a video of the physician that was trying to assist the woman who was pew-pewed in the head multiple times by ICE. Fun fact, everybody. That parking spot she was sitting in, was her house. The video that I'm talking about.
I've heard this from multiple sources. This lady was unalived in front of her house, y'all. Because these demonic ICE agents just felt bloodthirsty, hopped out the whip, drew their firearms, and just fired away.
There's a woman recording, and she goes, "I'm not going to calm down. You just shot my fucking neighbor." So that street, that house, where that woman was parked, she wasn't chasing them. They asked her to move her vehicle, and she has pretty much said, "Fuck y'all, go around. This is my house. This is my street. I live here."
Yep, and I believe that. She see me seeing that new exclusive footage with her arm going out the window like, "Hey, go around." Basically, they're trying to bully her. And they like, she stick her arm out the window, "Hey, go around." They've run to the car, guns drawn. Straight demons. Them damn ICE agents are demons, bro. Straight up.
They killed that woman in front of her fucking house, bro. She technically wasn't even an observer, if you really want to break it down. She was just parked in front of her crib.
Damn.
Hey, breaking fuck the news.
That is bad. See, once fear replaces trust, that right there is the most powerful organizer. Let me repeat that. When fear replaces trust, that is the most powerful organizer. The people have already raised $500,000 in less than 24 hours. Why? Because people are afraid. You know how many middle-aged white women right now, like, that could be me. I can be checking my effing mailbox and ICE can gun me down. I thought they were just getting Mexicans out of here. I just thought they were getting rid of the blacks in Chicago. But you're effing telling me I can go outside and me and my kids could be building snowmen and ICE can roll up and unalive me. Bruh, let me tell y'all something. People stop waiting for clarity and they start acting on perception. It's about how this looks. And the way Trump and Vance reacted, middle America's not going to sit well with this. No. Rumors move faster than facts. So even if that wasn't her house, which I believe it was, because I heard multiple people say that, the rumors are going to move. It's all about perception. Now, every uniform that they see in middle America is going to look threatening. It's going to look threatening. Every protest is going to look dangerous. This is how society started to drift towards internal conflict. It's never through planning, really. It's more like accumulated mistrust. You got federal power versus middle America right now.
I want to give you guys an update.
This is crazy.
Oh, that's my fucking pie! Oh, that's my fucking pie, though! Listen, there's a process for everything. There's a process for everything. He's gonna go with us. He's gonna get processed, all right? Then from there, as long as anything comes up good on his processing on his end, he will see the judge. If he's not on the final order, he will see the judge. And then the judge decides his fate, whether he gets bail or whatever. He'll give you a call.
And y'all gotta show a brother some love. The Cash App is Nubreed Global Truth. And I say that because I doubt that I'm gonna be able to leave this stream up for regular viewers, because this one's kind of ratchet a little bit. And I know that this stream is controversial. I'm gonna speak plain with y'all. This is probably a stream I should have put on Rumble or put for members. So support the material. Support the material, y'all. Cash App, Nubreed Global Truth. You know, y'all getting to see a show right now that everybody would label controversial. But it's just the truth. I'm just telling it how it is, how I see it. You know, I'm not trying to be petty. Yeah, or Patreon, because there's a lot of profanity in this one. You know, this is not one that I can really leave mainstream. Yeah, I am still on Patreon. This video even may go to Patreon. But y'all getting to watch it, so show some support. And I do appreciate y'all showing up. But let's continue. No, it's at Nubreed Global Truth, not 77. Just at Nubreed Global Truth. Or $sign Nubreed Global Truth.
Office. Okay? That's his car. You have the keys.
Yeah, they splitting up families, you know. Hey, that's what's happening. That is what's happening. Hold on.
Hey, the Civil War just started. Texas invaded Illinois at the orders of the Fuhrer. The Civil War just...
Yeah, it is a civil war going on in America. It truly is. And you know something? You know something, y'all? A major fault line is forming right now. It's between the federal government, or federal authorities, I should say, and local communities, you know, which these federal agencies, they kind of like operate inside cities without local consent. There's no type of transparency. All of the ICE agents are walking around with masks, which creates more distrust. You know, it creates a sense of occupation, not really protection, more like occupation. You know, the local leaders, they feeling sidelined, like the mayors and the local law enforcement. That's why I was like, man, I'm surprised the police ain't marching with the citizens. Like, you know, they don't know where they fall in all of this. You know, it's just a lot of chaos. You know, the residents feel like they're being invaded. They don't know who to hold accountable for it. You know, history shows us that when people feel power is being imposed rather than represented, then there must be some type of cultural reset. And it ain't just, political stuff. I'm not just talking political. Every nation that has experienced an internal collapse from ancient Rome, Assyria, Babylon, Egypt, they all believed it was immune from certain activities. You know, they all thought that they would live in prosperity and that the military strength was used to protect them. But as soon as that mask slips, civil conflict is necessary. Like that one guy was talking about, what the Second Amendment was for. And yeah, the Second Amendment is to protect yourself from a government going rogue. Let me see. Carol, thank you for the support. Says this is way too close to 5th anniversary of January 6th, by the way. Right. Mm-hmm. And then, simultaneously, we're kind of looking at like, how do I word this? It's like a slow normalization of crisis. It's like we're being desensitized to seeing someone getting gunned down every day, like every day. Some type of war bombing. 50 people die here, 30 die here, 20 die here. And it's like, man, it's like they're trying to make us comfortable in chaos. You said it, Lions Ridge. Desensitization is going on, man. And I think the most dangerous stage in normalization is like when protests start having armed presence, And I think we do. I mean, it's necessary. It's dangerous, but it's necessary. When political outrage becomes like something that's routine. When we start seeing that every day, like, oh, they're protesting in this city, but it's armed though. When you start seeing America like that, like every other day, there's a protest going on in a city and everybody got AR-15s. Shit about to hit the fan, bro. Like, when people just stop reacting and they start being action oriented, when empathy for the powers that be start fading. Yeah, Christy, you're right. America's absolutely becoming a third world country. A society cannot successfully live in constant low grade crisis for years. It's impossible. It creates, I would explain it as like, it'll create a cycle of fear, like a trauma cycle. And a country just can't survive like that. At some point, it's going to hit a boiling point. Crisis or collapse normally feel like it's gradual right up until it suddenly ain't gradual no more. That's how it always happens. I study history, so some of y'all may be new to the platform. I may sound kind of nerdy, and when I talk about this stuff, I can go on and on for hours about history and how civilizations fall and the psychology behind it, because that's the stuff that I'm interested in. And I've been studying a lot of this lately. And I see America being that place that eventually it looks like a purge movie. I can see it going to that direction based on what I'm seeing. Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Absolutely.
It's coming. One of two things is going to happen in America real soon. People are going to outflux out of the country and escape as soon as they possibly can, or there's going to be some sort of civil uprising.
I agree with this guy 100%. Just based on history and based on the things we see every day.
Why, you may ask? Why would such a thing happen? Well, I'm sure you already know this as a fellow lower to middle class citizen of the country. And
Hear that, middle America?
Probably an upper class citizen, because truly the problem in America is corporations and politicians and the IRS and these people who tax us up a wazoo. But we are going to reach a point in America soon, it won't be long, where people no longer can afford basic necessity. We've already reached this point, man, where people are losing hope and they feel like there's no point. You look at the younger generation of kids, out here, man, who are going to work, making $12 an hour to roll silverware or do dishes, man. They can't get ahead in life. They can't even afford an apartment at the wages they're getting paid. Yeah, guess what goes up year after year after year is prices. Gas gets more expensive. Food gets more expensive. Fun gets more expensive. I mean, dude, we're people. We can't just live, work, and die. But that's what people feel like now. People feel like they'll never be able to buy a home. And because of this, what's the point of working? People feel like they can't afford to have families. So what's going to happen? Population's going to collapse. And this is going to lead to one of two places, man. People are going to leave these conditions because what's the point? Or they're going to say, you know what, man? I'm a rat and I'm cornered. And if you're going to kill me, I'm going to bite your ankle on the way out.
Yep.
If you get enough rats in that corner, man, they can take down the person that's trying to kill them.
I mean, I'm gonna have to agree. There's movies like Planet of the Apes. How many of y'all want me to do a stream that's just about the uprising that I can sense coming? And I just talk about what creates uprisings. I just do that the whole stream, bro. Because it's like I can really parallel this with a lot of historical events. I mean, some people just think the guy's just ranting, but the Bible really quantifies all of this. See, and let me know about getting the likes up. If y'all can get the likes matching the views, I know that that's something y'all interested in, because that's something I feel like I could talk about for at least, I literally can do a 10-hour stream about that, bro. If I could just show you all of ancient civilizations and America and explain to you all the parallels and why I believe that this place will end in chaos, I can do that for 10 hours, bro. No bull, 10 hours. I mean, I'm not going to do that right now, but I could. You see, like, moments like this, history doesn't really demand force, but that's what you're going to see. It really demands wisdom, For the Most High's people, we got to practice de-escalation, accountability, humility. And we have to move a certain way to survive through all of this. These are signs of survival when you can display those tenets. The tenets of Christ is what's going to get us through. Every empire that chooses suppression rather than reforming society, it already wrote its own destruction. It's already wrote its own decline. The question now is whether tension leads up to real calamity, because it seemed like people don't really recognize all the unrest that we see. I mean, y'all probably do, but a lot of people don't see it. When you think about survival, it's not really just about strength. It's about being aware. It's seasons of unrest all the time, The chosen don't survive by being the loudest or the strongest, we survive by being the most aware. History shows us that chaos will always punish impulsiveness. If you're moving impulsive, you got to be a wise observant of patterns, read the room, move with timing, let other people react emotionally. That's why I told y'all, don't get involved in what they got going on in Minneapolis. God's chosen people have to learn when to speak, when to move, when to stay still. Discernment becomes more powerful than courage. It becomes more valuable than brute strength. It becomes more valuable than being tactical in warfare. Being closer to the Most High is the most strategic thing you can do. That's why, I be seeing people running around like chickens with their head cut off. Like, look, we the most strategic in the world because we getting close to the Most High. We just got our popcorn. We see that, hey, when we start giving them head nods, when you start looking at other chosen ones and you get that head nod, like, yo, you see what's going on? Hey, yep, I see what's going on too. Yeah, you know what time we in, right? Yep. That's right. Matthew 28:20, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. That's right. See, a lot of people be hearing my rhetoric and they think that, oh, they over there fear mongering. No, we're aware. One of the greatest dangers in uprisings is manipulation. A lot of these movements you see, there can be false flag events that created the movement. See, not every movement is organic or grassroots. And not every outrage is what it appears to be. God's chosen people, we got to understand this and refuse to be fuel for their agenda. We cannot let them emotionally coerce us to do what they want us to do. Yeah, there is organized chaos that goes on, straight up. See, survival often means that you got to step back from emotionally charged spaces. Because it's always an agenda they want us to stand behind. You got to think of it like this. All right. So you got to think of it like this. Who benefits if this escalates? Because what history showed me when I read is that many people fall not because they were wrong, but because they rushed into situations that just wasn't meant for them. See, we can't rely on crowds and rely on community, tight circles, trusted relationships as much as we used to be able to. Only thing we can kind of rely on is shared values and lifelines during unstable times. When systems start shaking, like the scriptures say in Psalms, be still and know that I am God. I will exalt among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. That's right. That's why I always tell these people, like, I be like, y'all don't get involved in that. Oh, they protesting here. And I remember when Black Lives Matter first emerged, I'm like, yeah, don't go out. I said the same thing back then. I said, man, don't go out there messing with them damn people. Them people have you out here, have you all screwed up. Oh man, look at y'all's president, not y'all's president. Yeah, look at the president. What's up with this dude?
I want to really, yeah. But she gets it.
Nah, cuz. Nah, bro. What's wrong with him? Somebody come get him, man. What's wrong with him, man?
Please go watch the movie Idiocracy, because we're living in the fucking prequel right now.
I want to really, yeah.
Nah.
But she gets it.
Man, that's what happened, man. He out here blowing Bubba. You know, the white supremacists, they ready to disown this guy. The white supremacists, they ready to disown him, man. That's what happened. Look, Trump, somebody said that cocaine hit. Damn Trump, the damn bussy man. Out here blowing everything on the island. Let me see. Somebody Hebrews. Okay, I see Hebrews. Man, listen, bro. Yeah, they need to impeach that boy. Somebody said, let me read that. Take heed, brethren, lest there be any of you an evil heart of unbelief and departing from the living God. That's right. See, we're not dealing with these weirdos and freaks, man. Yeah, that man is geeked up out here. Geeked all the way up. Geeked all the way up. And they got to do something about this, man.
To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to...
Why he didn't have that same energy for George Floyd? But you know what? We're going to stay out of that. If y'all want them out of there, I already told y'all what y'all got to do. All that cussing and fussing, hooting and hollering. No, y'all going to have to get out there and really put boots to the ground and stop playing. Because y'all making me think this all a damn game. Y'all making me think this all a screenplay. Like, y'all making me think this all theater until I see y'all light something up. Of course, you know, we are God's people. We just observing. We just observing. You know, civil tension, you know, tension. It don't just attack the streets. It attacks the mind. Fear, anger, despair. That's what's spreading in Middle America right now. That's what's going on in Middle America right now. Fear, anger, and despair. The chosen of the Most High who survive, they survive by guarding their inner state. I don't consume nonstop outrage. I'd rather pray, disconnect, and when necessary, engage with a sound mind. Stay anchored, brothers and sisters. See, spiritual discipline keeps them from being emotionally, and spiritual discipline will keep us from being emotionally invested. Pray and stay out the way. Because decisions always going to carry long-term consequences. That's why I don't jump too far on the left. I don't jump too far on the right. Yeah, that's right. Stay prudent. Somebody says, I like how you don't rule out that this could be a psyop. Nope, you can't rule that out either. You know, we just gotta practice adaptability without losing our identity. That's one of the main things that I see within the truth community. A lot of people want to adapt to the world, but they end up losing their identity in the process, and then they're unable to really see what's going on. 2 Timothy 1:7, for God have not given us the spirit of fear, but power and of love and a sound mind. That's right. Yeah, this is psychological warfare all the time, all day, every day. They trying to go to war with our minds by giving us more fear cycles. Yeah, George Floyd, we got a George Floyd reverse incident, like another psyop, probably. It's probably a psyop. I don't know. But for us, those of a sound mind, survival means adaptability. You know, knowing how to adjust without losing who you are. Understand the season change. Understanding that you're in a time where rules have shifted, environments are now unpredictable. You can't compromise your values. You know, you got to stay, exactly. You got to stay resilient out here, you know. God's chosen people don't panic because they don't understand the timing, you know. Uprisings, they kind of feel overwhelming when you look at things from moment to moment, but history moves in cycles. This is just another chapter. It's not the end of the story. That's the perspective I want you, brothers and sisters, to keep as things continue to spiral, as things continue to, you know, move the way they're moving. Why? Because calm people make better decisions. It's very important to remain calm in conflict. Better decisions keep you alive. And like the Bible says, pray that you be counted worthy through all these trials that we face. There's a difference between being a light and being a target. That's something else you got to keep in mind. You can be a light to people, but you don't want to make yourself a target. You can't tell truth to everybody. You can't be yourself with everybody. There's times where you may have to bend, but just never break. Meaning you got to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Everybody ain't really for you. Everybody don't want to know the truth. Everybody don't have your best interests at heart. I'm just keeping it 1,000 with you. You know, you got to move quietly, move wisely. You got to move intentionally. Not every act of righteousness needs an audience. Everybody want to be seen, heard. Psalms 1:3, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither. Whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. And that's when you have that strong foundation. They can't just root you up like that. You know? Those who really make it through this stuff is those who don't draw unnecessary attention, you know? We prepare, though. I'm prepared. I'm preparing. I don't know about y'all. You know, you getting closer to the Most High, closer you can get, that's how you prepare. You know, you don't panic in no situation. You got to plan financially, emotionally, spiritually. Preparation is wisdom. Paranoia is fear. Knowing is being ahead of the curve. And backups don't mean you expect disaster either. It means you're respecting reality.
My nigga Breed knew the time.
every generation that survives and continues to bring forth our fruits, our children, they understood this. People prepared calmly without dismissing any of the warning signs. How you think that we're here today? Our ancestors, listen, as I'm speaking to you, some of you all are really connecting what I'm saying because our ancestors, they took heed to this word. That's why when Christ says, when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, flee into the mountains. That's why you're here, because your ancestors was wise. They listened. When Vespasian and Titus compassed Jerusalem with armies, they got up out of there. Why? Because they was wise. They wasn't afraid. I think the greatest survival advantage that God's chosen people carry is peace. Not ignorance though. Not like ignorance. Like you look at knowing as something you should be afraid of. No, peace also means clarity. In order for me to be in peace, I have to have clarity. In order for me to have clarity, I have to know what's going on. Why? Because peace prevents me from making rash decisions. Peace keeps me from becoming what I'm trying to escape. When there's chaotic times, peace is not passive, it's strategic. History shows me this over and over. Hit the like button if y'all understand what I'm talking about. I hope I ain't going over people's head, man. I have a habit of just talking, bro, and letting the spirit lead me and what I'm feeling, man. So let me know. I don't want to just be ranting and raving. And I don't know who the word is for. I just want y'all to really comprehend what I be talking about in these videos. I really want y'all to comprehend where I'm coming from with this stuff. And the reason I'm saying this is because when you seeing more civil unrest, I want y'all to be on point, because the more noise you hear, the more dangerous things can become if you're not spiritually grounded. Especially in a time where everybody want to be seen, everybody want to be heard and validated. Okay, so y'all following me with this. All right. You know, sometimes when you in the world and you trying to preach and teach, you're not used to people being able to have the same kind of spirit as you and relate to what you're saying. You know, if I was to go outside and be talking the way I'm talking, people like, yo, that nigga that live down there, he weird. You know what I mean? What the hell is he talking about? So when I'm among like-minded people, sometimes I can get carried away because y'all can embrace what I'm saying. But when I'm out and about, I can't share this knowledge with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Is they like, man, what's up with cuz? No, I just be thinking a lot. You know, seeing this thing 5-dimensionally. Colossians 1:23. If you continue in faith, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel which ye have heard and which was preached. I'm telling you, that's that word. That's that word. You know? And it's like, in this time, because I kind of want to pivot a little bit about how we survive as the Most High's people in such a time. you know? And it's like, sometimes it's like we struggle to understand that visibility is not always favor. Sometimes it can be volatile in different seasons. You know, a lot of times moving quietly can kind of preserve your options. You know, silence becomes your shield. That's why I always tell y'all, don't announce your plans to everybody. You don't broadcast all your emotions. You don't argue with people that's committed to misunderstanding you. Imagine sitting there arguing with somebody who done already made a decision to misunderstand who you are. Like, they're committed to it. Them niggas is married to being foolish and stupid. Like, they're committed to misunderstanding you. You're trying to prove yourself to them. You're trying to argue with people who are going to take everything you say out of context, no matter how you say it. It's stupid. That's why you can't share everything with everybody, you know? I'm telling you, you just can't share everything with everybody. You know, history show you that too, because when it comes to survival, people who keep a low profile always end up on top. You know? You know, I even say a lot of times wisdom is more powerful than righteous anger at times, you know, because righteous anger feels powerful, but it's unmatched. It's unmatched when it comes to wisdom. Because then you're going to definitely refuse to let emotions override you. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes even righteous anger can kind of like attract unnecessary conflict, because I've been there. Like, I've been to a point I was so pissed off that people can't see and what we need to do. So like angry about the fact that we as a whole choose to be in this simulation, because we can very well be set apart and come together. I used to get angry about that, but I realized that wisdom is more powerful, you know. You got to convert emotions into discernment and just move deliberately. Because we in a time of survival, and it ain't about proving a point. It's about staying intact long enough to fulfill your purpose. That's what it's about. It's not about proving a point. It's not about being right. It's about surviving. Only Truth, thank you for the support. I appreciate you, my brother. And surviving is knowing when to step back. One of the hardest disciplines is restraint. You got to recognize moments when stepping back is the most powerful move you can make. I don't care who it is, y'all. I don't care who you dealing with. You got to know when, like, you know what, I'm going to fall back. This is right here, dealing with these people or dealing with this situation. The most powerful thing I can do is just step back. You got to know when you reach that point. Because we're talking about survival, man. People are losing their minds, man. And it started right around the time when they were telling us 6 feet apart. Right around the time they were sending people to Dr. Kevorkian and telling them, look, you going to either get this pointy thing or you ain't going to have no job. Something changed in people. And right around that time, something really shifted in a lot of people. You know, the isolation kind of ruined social interactions to a degree. Yeah, right around 2020. Right around 2020, something really shifted. And then that's when you had to realize that people wasn't acting rationally, you know, not every battle is yours, you know, not every battle is yours. Not every injustice requires your physical presence. Not every time something happens, it requires us. That's how we burn ourselves out. You know, I look back at history and all of our patriarchs and our martyrs, and it was full of people who meant well, but they were consumed because they didn't know when to disengage. And the chosen ones really survive because they understand timing just as much as they understand truth. This is why we study the times that we live in. We got to study the time we live in.
My nigga Breed knew the time.
Cause I feel like I ain't gonna keep ranting too much longer, but I say this: as instability continues to rise in this world, we are the guardians. You know, we're not just mere men and mere women. We are of the truth. We are of the Most High stock. We are chosen by the Most High. We built different. We are different. We are brilliant. We're articulate. We're not just individuals that's just chasing causes. Nah, man, we protecting the children, the elders, our loved ones. You know, we're seeking emotional stability as much as we can. You know, we matter way more than arguments in the streets and people out there fighting, looting, polluting. We're worth more than that. Like, we're not doing no more marching. We're not doing no more protesting. We're just not doing it. You know, we understand that if the family unit collapses, everything else becomes harder to sustain. You know, stability starts first inwardly in the home. You know, stability starts with having your family together, building your family up. That's where it really begins. And however that may look in your situation, however your family dichotomy is. A lot of you brothers, y'all know exactly what you got to do. A lot of you sisters, you know exactly what you got to do to make sure that that unit isn't fractured. Even if y'all single mothers, single fathers, whatever the case is, you still know what you got to do to make sure that generational curses are broke and your lineage is not fractured. You understand? And it's like, in unstable times, it really exposes the inner fractures. You know, fear, doubt, confusion start to surface. But the chosen ones, we got to respond by strengthening our alignment with the Heavenly Father, our mind, our spirit, our values. You know, we got to eliminate all the contradictions in our lives, man. You know, that just simplifies everything. Your relationships that you have shouldn't be full of complexity, you know, because it should be simplicity. Like, even the scriptures say, there's a scripture where it says that they want you to, and somebody shared this with the chat. They trying to take you away from the simplicity that is Christ. I think I'm paraphrasing, but it says something about they want to take you away and confuse you from how simplistic life can be. Christ brings us simplicity. Faith is important. But you don't let your faith make you escape reality. Like, if you see, like, because people be always going in on they fear mongering. Oh, you know, they telling you this happening and that happening. No, we got faith, but we're not gonna let faith make my reality go away. Like, nigga, they got, if they sit up there and, all right, so let me give you an example. They build a power plant near your house, and you see all kind of military trucks going in and out of it. It's weird stuff happening around you. all of a sudden a bunch of people get sick. They walking around like zombies. They walking around bleeding out the eyeballs. Are you gonna tell me something in you ain't gonna be like, you know what? I think I gotta get out of here. I think it might be time for me to move. Or you gonna be like, you know what? I got faith. I'm gonna sit here. I got faith that toxic waste is going in the air ain't gonna have my eyeballs bleeding in a few months. Like, I'm just saying, like, I don't like how people try to demonize truth. Like, where people start ignoring signs and all of that. To me, I think that's avoidance. To me, that's not grounded. That's not being grounded. Reflection is being sharpened, not denial, you know? Faith will keep you from being swept up in a collective panic. If everybody's panicking, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Let's go protest. Let's go march and get the power plant tore down. Hey, but what did you just do? You just scooted up out of that, John. You got out of there. You just exercised faith. You didn't get caught up in collective panic. You started making moves. To me, that's faith. To me, that's somebody who's a visionary. That's somebody who's anchored. While the system is shaking, you acted on faith and you made a move outside of the system. Now, that kind of faith doesn't make people reckless. It makes them steady. You know, the chosen don't get lost in daily outrage. They watch the cycles, pardon me. They watch the cycles that's happening, AKA the patterns. Excuse me. Yeah, faith is a verb. Yeah, they would be the ones operating in fear because they're in denial. The person in faith would do what's logical and reasonable. The righteous will watch for the cycles, social constructs, understand when unrest starts to rise, peak, and eventually they'll make moves to prevent despair. And also prevent overreactions. Gladiator, thank you for the support. All praises to the Most High. Peace, Nubreed, blessings to everyone. Faith is in the Most High, God in Christ. Absolutely. But people who understand cycles don't waste energy fighting the symptoms. They prepare for the transition. That's why I say to people in Minneapolis, either y'all gonna get out there and make something shake, or y'all gonna shut up and do nothing and get closer to the Most High. That's what I say. Even though, you know, when it comes to everything I'm talking about, survival is not really the final goal. Purpose is. You know, purpose is the goal. You know, the chosen understand that we're not just here to endure a collapse and then rebuild it afterwards. That's not what this is about. Every period of unrest, builders are needed and fighters are needed too. But those who kept wisdom, compassion, and clarity, they are the foundation of whatever comes next. Malcolm X says the future is for those who prepare for it. And we all agree that Jesus Christ, the Messiah, is the King, and he's going to lead us into the next life. You know, I say this, don't let people mistake your calm for ignorance. You know, in reality, calm often comes from understanding. The chosen are unbothered, not because they don't see the danger. It's because we trust in preparation. We trust in our discernment. We trust in timing. Panic is contagious, but peace is too. You know, those who carry peace, we gonna move differently. You know, we gonna be the ones who stand when the dust settles. You hear me? And that's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. Anyway, man, I went on ranting and raving for way longer than I thought I was. I just wanted to chop it up with y'all. Anyway, man, I got more material coming. I don't know if this one gonna be able to stay up or not. I hope it will. You know, they tried to kind of shadow ban this one because I did 2 live streams to start off, and they literally took the sound out of the live. They took the sound out of my lives, y'all. I had to start over. The first live I did had like 200 people in 1 minute. So y'all know that thing was about to get popping. So the algorithm kind of messed me up. But nonetheless, I mean, if they let me leave it up, if it wasn't too controversial, I'll leave this joint up. If not, then make sure you become a member on the channel so you can make sure you don't miss no broadcast. And for everybody who sent super chats, I highly appreciate y'all. Thank you for the support. If you sent cash apps, thank you for the support as well. One love to y'all. Thank you for spending your time here. We got more material coming. Y'all be blessed. Shalom. Peace.